What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Junior and the Big Dog, your favorite father and son duo covering Miami Hurricanes football and sports. What's going on, Big Dog?
What do you guys say? Back with you here tonight. Obviously, we were with you last night as Category 5, and now being here with you guys is always a pleasure. And I'm just happy to be here once again and getting back into the swing of things. We are going to do our catch up with some of the recruits that we haven't covered previously. We're going to cover them and get those videos done this weekend, hopefully. And that sounds like a good plan, still, Junior.
Um, yeah, there are no promises. I still don't have my laptop.
Yeah. Oh, you still don't have your laptop back. So
Yeah.
that has been part of the problems, and obviously with the babies, with the twins. So we know we have a whole bunch of videos to send out to catch up with everything and catch up with you guys. But an awful lot to talk about. I hope that most of you, or at least hopefully all of you, but at least hopefully most of you caught the Category 5 show last night. And I hope in a lot of ways we can put the horrific underachievement of the 2019 season behind us and start looking forward to the 2020 and talk about a lot of the positive things that are happening with the program. And obviously, a lot of us are going to do a wait and see and show me, are in show me mode before we get excited with all the hype until we actually come September and those translates to translate to wins on the football field. Because we certainly have plenty of hype this past off season, and they did not translate to wins on the football field. So, but still, that doesn't mean that we don't have an awful lot to get excited about, an awful lot to talk about, an awful lot to cover, an awful lot to inform, and we hope to do that all with you here in the coming weeks. So, and man, it's amazing, but spring football is like right around the corner. I'm losing. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. What happened there?
Nah, my mic was off by mistake.
Oh, okay.
like December flew by for me, and
Yeah,
it
obviously.
felt like it was like when you're in a situation, it feels like it's taking forever. But when you're looking back on it, it was yeah, it went by pretty fast. So I'm excited for spring football as well, man. I'm very excited for spring football. Just a little quick roll call here. Just a little.
And please, everybody, everybody, please hit the like button. It always helps us with the YouTube algorithm. If you're new to us, please subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and share, retweet, and comment. As you saw, we started on our last video. Started catching up again and making sure that we answered all the comments that came in. And you guys know that our goal is always to answer 100% of the comments that you guys post to the videos. So please do that, and we'll continue. But go ahead, Junior, with the roll call.
Yeah, man. You got Brett, Chuck Mobier, Big Whales in the house. Stacy, what's up, Stacy? Byron, Orange and Green Blood Cohen.
Cohen, it's all about the you.
How you guys doing, man? DeJohn, Eddie the King, Ewala, Daryl Young, Yellow, what's good, Yellow? Thomas Miles, Buddy, what's up, Buddy? David, Mr. HD, what's up, Mr. HD? And Came Forever. So yeah, man. Thank you. You go wild, dream chaser. I didn't get to ask you this yesterday, Big Dog, but before we go ahead and dive into some football,
Yep.
Kobe, man, Kobe. I know you guys saw the thumbnail of Kobe throwing up to you with Sebastian.
Yeah.
I brought it up yesterday in the category 5 because I know Big Dog will understand this to a certain extent, but Kobe was kind of like my generation's Jordan, kind of, I guess. I think that's a pretty good
That's fair.
comparison. And then
Sure.
'cause I just feel like LeBron's like it's just different. Like I feel like Kobe's game and Jordan's game were so much alike. And
Yeah, the LeBron is Magic Johnson 2.0.
right. So
Kobe, the only thing with LeBron, you can make a case that he was even a greater player than Magic. You can't make that case with Kobe and Michael.
no, you
but
can't.
but still, it was the closest thing to Michael, without
Yeah,
a doubt.
yeah. So yeah, man. To and the other families, everybody's talking about Kobe and Gigi because of what they mean to the sports world and what they mean to everybody around the world. Frankly, regardless if you met him, regardless if you're a Laker fan, I mean, it's just everybody knew who Kobe was. I was and just a little quick story here, and I haven't even told you this, Big Dog, because me and you haven't talked that much.
Yeah, we haven't had a
we're
chance to.
both crazy busy, but yeah, on Sunday I had my mom over, I had my brother over, and my phone was in the room, and I'm out here in the living room, with my kids and with my mom, my brother just talking, talking about the kids and whatnot, and then I hear my phone start to kind of blow up, like with text messages and whatnot. So I'm not really paying no mind to it because I'm in a bunch of like group chats like on WhatsApp and just like regular messaging. So obviously when you're in a group chat with like 10 different people, and the messages could be just going off. So I'm just like, whatever, I'm not even paying that much mind. But then it was started coming in like ding 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 ding, and I'm just like, wait, what? Hold on. So I go to get my phone, and my dad sent me a text. And usually when I get my phone, I see all my notifications, and I see I have notifications from like 4 different chats. But when I see that Big Dog says something, I go to my dad's. I go to his first before I start answering all the other ones, and then I read it. And then you said, that's how I found out, Big Dog. You're the one that broke it to me. Oh, that Kobe was killed in a helicopter crash. And then I can't even explain. Like I looked at it at my phone, and I was like, no. But I said it like I even like my wife was like, what's wrong? Like my wife thought the worst, like somebody, family related passed
Right,
away. And
right.
I'm just like, no,
And it's
no.
and it's weird because it's almost like that's what it felt like
Yeah.
in a way,
Right.
because he's been such a prevalent part of like sports fans' life that you almost felt like it was a
But Big
distant
Dog,
family member.
yeah, right. But I didn't believe it. I was like, nah. So then the first thing I do was I Google Kobe, and then I see the story on ESPN. I see the story on CNN. And I'm just like, no, this can't be, yo. Like it took me for a ride, man. And yeah, I said it yesterday in the chat. I'm gonna reiterate, for those of you that weren't there, and for those of you that maybe didn't see the Category 5, man. But it happens when I'm sure if we've all lost someone at some point in our lives, and it hit different because it's Kobe.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's so
And,
weird,
and
and I
in a
said
lot
it
of
like
ways, we saw
it's
him. We saw him grow up in front of us. So, because you have to remember,
that's
Kobe
right,
came to the
exactly.
league. He was a teenager. A teenager. I mean,
Yeah,
he made his first All Star game at 18 years old. So we
right.
literally saw him before our eyes grow up,
Yeah,
and go through the things that he went through in his life.
right.
And wow,
So it's like it just, and even today, like sometimes I'm just watching, whether it's Get Up or I still can't watch. Not that I can't watch, I just don't want to. Like the in memoriam videos and his highlights with like the music in the background and like pictures of him and Gigi. Like I see that and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Like I still can't. swallow that pill yet, because it's like I don't want to believe it because it's Kobe, man.
Yeah.
So, but when something like that happens, man, it puts things in perspective for you. Um, how in a blink of an eye, man, anybody can go. Anybody can go. If Kobe could go, we can
Anybody
go.
could go.
We anybody could go. You
Yeah.
know, that's what it feels like. So it puts things in perspective, like I said, man, to really cherish your loved ones. And life is too short, man. Life is too short, and that's what I'm taking from all of this. It's nice to see um people in the NBA honoring him, whether it be changing their numbers, the 24 second violations, and everybody like wearing Kobe jerseys, Kobe shoes. I mean, it's good. It's great to see. I just hope that the togetherness that we feel as sports fans, as basketball fans, I just hope it lasts and it doesn't fade away.
Yeah.
Once this finally does sink in, man. So yeah, very quick, big dog. What do what do you take away from Kobe? Like what is
So
it about
I'll
Kobe?
tell you, I'll tell you the first thing that popped in my head. The first thing that popped in my head when I read the news, obviously, you start and our prayers and our thoughts go to
How
Kobe.
did you find out?
I was watching the Pro Bowl. I
Oh,
was
okay.
watching the Pro Bowl on TV, and Joe Tessitore, the play by play guy, comes on, and he said, and I could tell, it's one of those things you could tell right away when his tone, when someone's tone is different. And immediately I saw that the tone was different, and he started saying, I regret to inform you. I have to inform you, and so what's coming is bad news, and you never know when it's bad news exactly what it's going to be.
Mhm.
And then when he said, that it was Kobe, and that he perished in a helicopter crash, and immediately the first thing that came to mind was, and like I said, our thoughts and prayers are with Kobe's family, who I can't even imagine what they're going through. Also, the family of all the other people that were on the helicopter, also, because they have to be remembered just the same. And and the first thought of that was, I was hoping none of his kids were with him, and then to find out that his daughter Gigi was with him, and that was like, oh my god. And then to find out that there was apparently another one of the basketball players and her family
Mhm.
were also on the helicopter, and it just keeps multiplying the tragedy. And but the first thing that popped in my head was the final game, and that's one of the things I think a lot of people and this goes to our Canes and our Canes family. A lot of people that are not sports fans don't quite understand the obsession that we have with sports. And what they don't understand is that a lot of that obsession are things that we've shared together with loved ones. When I think of my favorite boxer of all time was Sugar Ray Leonard. When I think of Sugar Ray Leonard, I immediately think of my father, because he was a Roberto Duran fan, and he and I used to have these knockdown arguments because he was a Duran guy and I was a Sugar Ray Leonard was better. And in fact, I remember watching the first Sugar Ray Leonard. I'll show you how old I am. The first Sugar Ray Leonard Roberto Duran fight, my father and I saw on closed circuit at the Miami Beach Convention Center, because back then those big time fights, you had to watch it like that on closed circuit TV and a big screen at the convention center. And there was a family friend sitting between me and my father, and he said he'll never go to anywhere with us again, sports related, because the entire Leonard Duran fight, he was like looking at us going like we were crazy, because every time that Leonard would land a punch, I'd start yelling at my dad, and every time Duran did, it was so. A lot of times the sports things, the sports memories that we have become larger because they're shared with our loved ones. And as soon as I saw the Kobe, I remembered his last game that you and I watched together
Mhm.
at your house.
Yeah.
And that was
You remember the way we were looking at each other? We're just like,
Yeah, it was
there's,
eerie
there's no
because
way, man.
we were watching it on TV, and yet we felt the electricity that they were feeling inside the arena that night.
Yeah, you feel like you
Because
were there.
yeah, because you knew it was one of those things. It reminded me of like Magic, when Magic came back and played in the All-Star game after he announced that he was HIV positive. And it was that All-Star game that the last few seconds, they never even played it because Magic hit like 4 3-pointers in a row and all the All-Stars mobbed him. That had that type of feeling. Like it didn't matter if Kobe could shoot it from the parking lot with his eyes closed, and God was going to make sure that the basket went in. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
That last game. And then I remembered the last words that he said, Mamba out.
Yeah.
And that's what kept playing in my head over and over again. So it was sharing that moment with you of watching his last game. And that Mamba mentality, man, it's something that we've talked that was missing with our Hurricanes this past season. It was that Mamba mentality of it's not just winning, it's or competitiveness. It's holding yourself and others accountable for that commitment, for the victory, for the group victory, for the team success. And whether you loved him or hate him as a player, Kobe exemplified that better than almost anybody that's played, at least in recent generations. Buddy with the donation, thank you so much. He says, Uncle Buddy is proud of the man that Junior is. I am too, buddy. I am very much too, and very proud of the father that he has become too. And
thank you.
I am blessed. But the competitor, the way he's transcended basketball to the other aspects of that he was doing in his life. People said nobody even knew that Kobe was producing short movies and stuff like that, and he wins an Academy Award the first time out of the shoot. But again, it goes to that mindset, that Mamba mentality of doing whatever you need to do to work towards success. And that's a take I hope everybody takes from Kobe's life, is that he's a guy that whether he rubbed people the wrong way of the way he went about it, or they might have not liked the way he carried himself, you can't dispute the competitor. You can't dispute the fact that he give you everything he had on both ends of the court. This was a guy, because everybody focuses on offense, he was a 9-time defensive first team all NBA selection. 9 times. He was all NBA first team defense.
Yeah.
Okay. So it gives you an idea how much he put into himself, he's an example, like he was to his daughter, who's now joined him in heaven. He was an example to her because he taught her the game, and she was a great basketball player at her age. She's 13, obviously, when she passed. And it's an example to all of us.
You know what it is about Kobe, man, is
live your life that way.
Yeah.
Live your life with that Mamba mentality. Live your life trying to be the best at everything you do. And that doesn't mean just work related or sports related. It means being a husband, being a father, being a son, being obviously a daughter, and whatever it is, a member of your community, a mentor. Try to be the best person you could be, and take each day with that mindset.
And just the transition that he made, because he caught slack his career for being selfish and
right,
and all these other things, and he did
criticize him at times.
No, yeah, 100%.
I criticize him at times.
We all did, especially when there was that little rivalry. Once Shaq came to Miami, and D Wade even said it himself, they kind of pinned Kobe against Wade,
right?
And Wade is everything to me. So there was always that little, you know, Wade even broke this man's nose in the All-Star game. Like there's
Yeah,
always been that kind of, so,
yeah.
you know,
And we cheered.
but I've always respected Kobe.
And we cheered when he broke Kobe's nose.
Yeah.
We did.
But I've always respected Kobe, and I've always admired his game, and just admired his fire. But the transition that he made to once he retired, man, and I actually saw this. They were interviewing him, and he was talking Spanish. It was a Spanish interview, and this is what, because I kept on hearing like, oh, Kobe really doesn't care about basketball no more. He doesn't care about, like, he left 20 years out on the floor. But I've always thought to myself, like, yeah, but it's Kobe. You know, there's some things like I don't know if he's really happy for LeBron and passing him and whatnot. But then I saw this interview and they asked him, they were like, you know, now that LeBron's in LA, you know, with Anthony Davis and whatnot, you know, you and Shaq versus LeBron and Anthony Davis, who wins? In Spanish, they asked him this, and he responded back in perfect Spanish because he speaks, obviously,
Kobe,
he speaks Spanish.
I think he spoke like 6 different languages, because he also spoke Italian because his dad played in Italy.
Yeah,
when he was young. He spoke a bunch of different languages.
Yeah, and then he said, "Oh, no me importa," like just like that. He's like, "I don't really care," like, and he said it like with a smile on his face that you could tell was genuine. That he was all about his family, and he was all about he was on that same Mamba mentality that he had on the court. He was applying that off the court and in other ventures that he was going on with his life, and he was applying that same Mamba mentality, that same dedication, that same fire that he had on the court. He was applying that to his family, taking Gigi to games. You know, I mean, he died going to his camp, man, where he was going to coach. You know, so that's really nice to see, man, and it's something that we could all learn from. But yeah, I feel like
that I think to me is the greatest. If you want to pay a tribute, and one of the things I do want to address real quickly is, you know, first off, at the time of someone's death, it's the wrong time to talk about missteps that they might have had in their youth. That's one. Number two, one of the things that I think Kobe is a great example of this that I want people to take with them. A lot of times when you see people in the public eye, you make a determination of who they are, and then that's who they are for the rest of their lives in your head. Right. Meaning that people evolve, people learn from their mistakes, people become different people throughout their lives as they experience positives and negatives, as they learn, sometimes you learn by revelation, sometimes you learn by tribulation. There's all kinds of different ways you can learn. And when people want to mention Kobe's missteps in his youth or perceived missteps in his youth, look at the man he became.
Yeah. Don't
look at the man that he was, because, again, we forget that he became known to us when he was 18 years old. You know, which is a lot of times happens with our University of Miami kids. You know, we see them at 18, and then that's who they are in the snapshot of our mind. Well, people evolve, people learn. I certainly am not the same person I was when I was 18. And, you know, you've heard some of the stories. I was stone cold crazy when I was 18.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not the same dude today that I was then. But yet, because someone's in the public eye, oh, that's who he is. You know, oh, he'll never change. That's who he really is.
Right.
That's not always the case. Look at the father that Kobe became. Look at the husband that Kobe became. Look at the mentor that he became, businessman he became, the leader of in so many ways. I mean, he was one of the most popular. Bill Belichick still says in his 40 years of coaching, the best speaker he ever saw before, you know, like they bring in a speaker to talk to the team was Kobe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nick Saban brought Kobe in.
Yeah.
To talk about that Mamba mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we look at the full picture of his life, his evolution as a man and as a human being is really impressive.
Yeah.
And that's how I think the best legacy he leaves us is try to live your life with that Mamba mentality.
Perfectly said, Big Dom.
So
Yeah, man. Rest in peace to Kobe, Gigi, and the 7 other people that perished in that
absolutely,
helicopter crash, man. It's crazy. So
absolutely.
prayers to their families that God gives them the strength to overcome these hard times, man. And it's not to get any easier. So, but all right, man. Let's get to some football. Let's go
Yes,
ahead and
sir.
start talking about some football, man. Yeah. What do you want to start, big dog? We'll pay
Go
it.
ahead.
We're gonna. I'm sorry, because I'm just watching the chat. Who was pissed? I didn't hear Michael
I got
Irvin on the Joe. No, I didn't see him.
no, yeah, but I heard he was very angry about the FIU loss.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
who's
not?
Who's not?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
And we're gonna I'm gonna pay attention a lot to the chat today, because I feel like I didn't do a great job with that last week. And answer any questions that you guys might have when it comes to anything you guys want to ask, man. Recruiting. We still no wide receiver coach, because I know that's probably gonna be a question. So we still don't have a wide receiver coach. But any questions that you guys may have, man.
I really haven't even heard of any new candidates.
No,
it's still the same ones. Kevin Beard, Lamar Thomas, different ones been thrown around.
I feel like that's like rumor talk, to be honest with you. I don't even think that's like.
No, some of it has legs. I mean, some of it has legs because Lamar has talked about that he wants to come coach at the U. Right. Kevin Beard has been a successful coach and has coached at the U.
Right.
So, I mean, those things have some legs to them. And again, the rumors about Ed Reed negotiating for a chief of staff position, getting alumni involved is something that Manny has placed a priority on, and obviously not enough of a priority. If not, Alonzo Highsmith would be the assistant athletic director in charge of football. But there has been a impetus to get some alumni, and a wide receiver coach would be a pretty good place to start. Yeah. Andre Johnson is in the community. He works with wide receivers at the high school in Dade. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's some guys out there that But now again, is it in a case like Andre Johnson, that might not be a right fit, because is he willing to do what a wide receiver coach who has to travel and recruit?
Just because you got a big name that was an alumni and is a great player does not mean he's going to make a
correct. But a guy who's doing a career coach like a Kevin Beard, that's a good fit. Yeah, that's a good fit, right? So I would like to see that.
Hey, Rose saying I'm a little rusty. Daddy duty ain't easy. Yeah, I'm a little rusty, man. I'm fumbling over my words sometimes, and yeah, I'm gonna get back though, and I'm still trying to overcome the exhaustion and being sleep deprived with 2 newborns here at the house. So, but I'm getting better. DeAndre Toole, he says, what style of offense will we be running this year?
It's going to be a pure spread. Yeah. A true spread.
Finally, man, catching up to the rest of the college football world.
I know there's some slight differences between the spread and the air raid. For our conversation, there really isn't anything too different. It's more pattern concepts are a little different, but I think the spread runs the ball more, where the air raid is more of just pass. I like the spread better than the air raid. Spread have won national championships. Air raids have not. Okay, so air raid is Mike Leach. Think spread. Think of what you see Lane Kiffin run, what you see, national championship teams run, what you saw the LSU team run, what you see Clemson run. Those are true spreads. I like those type of pattern concepts. And people don't understand about that is that a lot of people see the spread and they automatically think 3 wide, 4 wide. It's a passing offense. A spread is really more of a running offense than the spread coast was with Dan Enos. Because what you're looking to do with the spread, just to give you guys a brief primer on the spread, is you divide the field into thirds. You have the boundary side, which is the short side. You have the running area, which is the box, what they call the box. And you have the field side, which is the wide side of the field. What you're looking for when you divide those fields into third is a numbers advantage, where you have more players in that area than the defense, or at least the same amount of players as the defense, because that's an advantage, because then you have one-on-ones all over the place. So what happens is when you spread the receivers wide, what are you doing? You're eliminating guys from the box. So you might end up with 7 guys on offense in the box, which would be your 5 linemen, the QB, and the running back, and they might only have 6 or 7 in the box. So now, even though the team is spread out, you run the ball and then you go up tempo and you don't let them substitute. So now they're wearing out those linebackers and those D linemen, and they're running the ball right down your throat. And then what happens, which is what Enos supposedly, the excuse that Enos gave was he couldn't run the offense the way he wanted to, because he was trying to insinuate that the players weren't smart enough to run real up tempo. So that's why he had to huddle and slow it down. That's sort of what his insinuation was. But anyways, let's forget about Enos. He's in the past. What the spread does is this. They make you decide. So, for example, let's say Miami comes out with 12 personnel. Okay? You got a running back. You got 2 tight ends. Defense has to decide now. Okay, you got 2 tight ends in the game. You're going to go base? Okay, so if you go base and now I split out those 2 tight ends, now basically I got 4 wide receivers, even though 2 of them are tight ends, and 1 running back, and you're playing base. So you're covering guys one-on-one. You got to use linebackers now to cover my tight ends. Mm-hmm. So if you want to do that, you're going to be in trouble. But now what happens if you play nickel? I got 2 tight ends now. So now I'm going to start running the ball right down your throat. I'm going to go up tempo, and you can't substitute. Right. So that's what you're going to see in a Rhett Lashley type of offense.
Yeah. Now, you know what? The only thing that concerns me a little bit about that, big dog, hopefully it gets addressed, is our offensive line. Our offensive line concerns me a little bit. Playing up tempo like that, man.
On the spread,
you need a very athletic.
You need a lighter offensive line, yes.
Right.
But other than Donaldson, we can have that. David Feely can give us that.
No, I get it. I just
correct, but it does put less pressure on the offensive line because A, you don't have to hold your blocks as long, and B, you tire out the front 7 because you go up tempo.
Right.
So what happens on a up tempo drive where you might run 10, 11, 12 plays, but it only takes 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes? What happens? You get the front 7's best shot the first 2-3 plays. What happens play 6, play 7, play 8? Those guys are hands on their hips, huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
So it hides the deficiencies of your offensive line, but you do have to have athletic offensive lines who can then also play up tempo. But you have to remember, an offensive lineman, it's a lot less intensity physically to block than it is to defend. Because as a blocker, I know where I'm going, type of thing.
Right.
So as a defender, like for example, let's say you're the defensive end and I'm offensive tackle. Well, if I'm pass blocking, I'm basically dropping 3, 4, 5, 6 yards. You're running 10, 15 yards to try to get around me or to get through me. And then sometimes you got to chase down the quarterback, who, by the way, is going to be De'Aaron King, who's a running back that can really throw the ball.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, next play, that offensive lineman still only ran 6-7 yards. That defensive lineman ran 25. Okay. Same thing happens. Same thing happens. And then you start tiring out the defense. That's why you start seeing a lot of these spread teams do really, really well unless they're real short yardage, which sometimes they struggle because they're not used to blowing people off the ball.
Mhm.
But a lot of times what happens is when they get into the red zone and at the end of a drive, they usually succeed because by that time, the defense is wore out.
Right.
So get ready. What we saw Butch Davis do, we're going to see a lot of teams try to do where guys come down with phantom calf injuries. And I'm hurt because they're going to want to slow us down.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really, really happy with the spread. I'm really happy with the hire with Rhett Lashley. Garen Justice, I'm open-minded about who's our new offensive line coach.
Well, I feel like you have to be open-minded because the resume doesn't scream anything out at you, to be honest with you.
There's not a lot out there. The one thing that is out there that I like,
but then again, Butch Berry's resume was amazing, and
look
we
what
didn't
happened.
See what we expected to see from the offensive line. So,
well, I think with Butch Berry is I think he had been coaching the pros so long, he didn't understand. He was okay coaching college kids to pros, but he wasn't okay with coaching high school to college. That's a different type of coaching. Right. So, but I do like Rhett Lashley's scheme quite a bit. We could not have hired anybody better. And I think it's a perfect fit for our personnel.
Yeah.
So
Mo Beer says, are there any offensive linemen that we're targeting for signing day?
Oh, there is. But Chug, it's, man, I wish I had something concrete to tell you, man. A lot of it's even we've been talking now. We were talking yesterday about Calvin Bradley from USC in terms of guys through the transfer portal. Ideally, we want to add one tackle and one interior guy. As far as who that person's going to be, Chug, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. There's a lot of possibilities out there. But as far as I know, we're looking at more the names that I've heard have been transfer portal candidates and not necessarily high school kids.
Right.
So
yeah, we haven't I want to see us recruit better, man, when it comes to the offensive line. I want to see us recruit better.
Yeah, but some of the highest rated guys that we have on the offensive line haven't performed.
Yeah, but that's not just on the offensive line. I mean,
they haven't developed. You can say that we haven't developed them properly. Yeah, but they 100%. Were highly rated. But they were highly rated.
There's but there's a lot of highly rated guys, and we're loaded with talent every single year, and they're just not developed, and they're not when you're working out for whatever reason. So I don't put that on just the O-line as a position group. I think there's a bigger underlying issue there when it comes to development of our young kids.
No, I agree with you. You were mentioning that we have to recruit better, and I think there's a perception out there that we haven't necessarily recruited highly rated guys on the O-line. And I'm like, no, we recruited highly rated guys there too.
Yeah, but not as well as we're recruiting wide receivers,
gotcha.
running backs.
That's fair. That's fair. That's
defensive line.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see that same kind of success on the offensive line.
Now we did get Jalen Rivers.
Who we did. That was big.
Highly recruited.
That was big, but that's about it. Rated. But that's about it, big dog. When it comes to highly rated, that's about it.
Yeah, that's true. This group
in this cycle, right?
Correct. And the previous cycle, there wasn't much in highly rated.
Much.
There was all projects, and 2 of them ended up playing.
Right. Exactly. So I want to see us pick that up a little bit. What was I gonna say? What's going on, Dante? Austin Kane, Sigmund, Anthony. What's up, Anthony? New O-line coach is a good recruiter. We'll see. They're all 4 stars.
Sigmund was saying that. What do you think about all these offers getting sent out? more than last year. I'll say, man, I do like the idea of casting a wide net. Now when you cast that wide net, then you have to start zeroing in, and not just in terms of who do you have a chance on, but who do you want? Who do you truly want? And so I do like that idea of casting a wide net.
That's a great.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, dude. That's a great point. Where you at, man? That's a great point, and that's something I didn't follow up with. Aaron, I think it's Aaron Nove. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. He says these kids coming to Miami have to want to be great as well. Great point, man. That means putting in the work with the coaches, and when the coaches aren't around, 100%. I'm not putting everything on the coaches when I mentioned
that's fair,
the lack of development, because the kids got to put in the work as well, man. 100%. So that's a good point.
Listen, these coaches, they're limited to NCAA rules, 20 hours a week. That's all you get with these kids.
I didn't see that, Lauren.
The strength coaches are different, but because the strength and conditioning coaches are separate from the coaching staff. The coaching staff itself are only allowed to have these players for 20 hours a week. So a lot of the work that these players do, they have to do it on their own.
Yeah.
And that's where you start having this lack of work ethic, lack of seriousness that we saw, that we talked about during the season, that Barry Jackson reported on after the year, that we talked about Jaren and that's one of the things I want people to remember, is that on Barry Jackson's column, he said Jaren and a bunch of other guys. There was a lot of other players that were doing the same types of things, which we saw on the field. Put it this way, when we were doing our player breakdowns yesterday on Category 5, man, the guys that were putting in the work, we could name them off the top of our heads like that, because they were the Rousseaus, the guys that really did it, the DJ Scaife, I'm trying to think KJ Osborne, those guys, that DJ Dallas, Brevin Jordan, these are guys that we know that they were putting in the work because we saw it on the field. So now what we don't know is, how about all those other guys that were either inconsistent or didn't show up at all? How much of that was them not putting in the work, them not really? But again, we go back to, you encourage what you tolerate. So that can't be tolerated, but the players have to be self-motivated, because there's a lot of hours in the week outside of those 20 hours, and you need to put in the work as a player. Yeah. But the coaches know who is putting in that work. So, and let's see, we did get rid of a lot of players.
Yeah.
And whether you want to think that some of those players were some of that dead weight, or are some of those players unhappy because of preferential treatment given to guys that maybe didn't put in the work. So who knows?
Yeah. Anthony says, Big Dog, when it comes to recruiting, can you please explain to me what the difference between a prep school and a private school? And would you consider IMG a prep school or a private school?
That's a good question. Okay. Prep schools traditionally, the way they always been since my day, were some kids in high school that either struggled academically or weren't physically mature, went to what they called a college prep school, which was like a 1-year prep to go to college. And a lot of times you get some of these prep schools were like military style, that they really were high on discipline. Some were all sports related prep schools, where some of these high level athletes, maybe they needed, because you have to remember, you had Prop 48, which was if you didn't score 700 on your SAT, and your grade point average wasn't a 2.0 on core courses, you couldn't play as a true freshman. So a lot of times they go to a prep school to get their grade point average up, or to get the SAT score up. So there was these little like a niche market for these prep schools. Now private schools are what we see. Belen Jesuit is a private school. You have all these different Pace, Monsignor Pace. You got a ton of private schools. Shoot, Westminster Christian is a private school. Hialeah Champagnat Catholic. Those are private schools, Anthony. So the prep schools were more about those, and then the private schools are just that. They're just private schools that, have a high school diploma just like everybody else does, but it's at a private school that their parents either play or they get scholarships that they're really not supposed to have scholarships, but they are scholarships.
Yeah.
To play. So
I know Brett and John answered it, buddy. But when a player transfers, doesn't that open up a scholarship? Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Albert Martinez, players need to take accountability for other players.
But let me address that. That doesn't mean that you can pass just because a player left. You still have the same 25 scholarship limit. That doesn't give you an additional one. The only thing that gives you an additional one is if you did not have 25 or more. 25 the previous class, you can take some early enrollees and assign them to that previous class. So even though they leave, it does open up a scholarship. It still doesn't allow you to go over the seasonal limit that there is on scholarships. So did I explain that well? Do you think? Or?
No, that was great, man.
Okay.
That was great. Sigmund says, we will be short on running back for the spring. Do you think we need to go to the portal for one more in case someone gets hurt?
It wouldn't be a bad idea, Sigmund. I think that's a good idea. You have to be proactive. Listen, running back position.
I disagree. I don't want to. Man, we're stacked at running back,
dude. We're stacked in terms of talent, in terms of high level talent, but we're not stacked in terms of numbers. And running back is a position of a lot of contact. So
I get it.
You get a lot of injuries. Think about this. We're going.
I just think there are more other needs on this team.
Dude, how many running backs do you think we have? Because right now I'm counting 4 scholarship guys going into the season. Am I missing any?
No.
You got Cam Harris, you got Don Chaney, you got Rooster Knighton, and you got Robert Burns.
Yeah.
That's too few running backs. Now, do you want to get a high-level guy? Maybe get a high-level guy who's a junior or a senior? And you got to remember, because 2 of those guys are true freshmen.
Yeah. Running
back is a position that not always true freshmen are ready to play at the college level. Now, I think Chaney and Rooster both are, but yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea to get some insurance.
I don't know.
So, Sig was saying that Chaney's hurt for the spring. I haven't heard that he was hurt for the entire spring, but is that a for sure that he's out for the entire spring?
I do know that he was.
I know he was banged up. He's banged up.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that was a for sure that he will not be available in the spring.
I don't know about it being a for sure.
Okay.
What's going on, Sammy? Calvin said that if King's not QB1, he will play receiver or returner.
No,
yeah, I definitely expect him to be QB1.
Yeah, King will be QB1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they said that he'll be out until fall camp. All right.
Okay. Now, is that he's going to be out to fall camp, or is he going to be rested until fall camp? Because that I wonder how much is actual. Let's take it easy on him physically, and then you'll step it up in fall camp.
Yeah.
I think
Tabardine, I highly doubt it. I don't see Perry transferring.
I hope he doesn't. I mean, we need that extra experience in that room, because remember, De'Ara King does run a lot, and he's a very physical type of runner. I mean, he's 5'11", 195, and he breaks some tackles. He tries not to take too many hits, and he does try to get down on occasion, but he has running back type skills. So, Nicosi knows he's been down this road twice already during his career. He's one play away from getting in the game. So,
what's up, Jeremy? Yeah, he's a gamer. Yeah, Sammy's asking about. We talked about it already about the transfer portal when it comes to offensive linemen.
Yeah, Sammy. I mean, I would like to see two guys picked up in the transfer portal in terms of offensive linemen. I want an extra interior guy, and I want a tackle.
Yeah. The D Howard said, let me put some of these comments up here. Do you see any O line that we should go after the transfer?
D, there's a bunch, man. There's a bunch. I know we lost the Vanderbilt tackle. I guess he's going to Georgia Tech. We talked about Bradley from USC. I mean, there's a bunch of guys out there. I think last time I heard, there's some ridiculous number of players in the transfer portal. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think it's well over 1,000 players in the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy number. So I mean, there's a bunch, and the thing is, D, it's hard. There's a lot of good guys out there, but you remember last year, for example, there was like a couple of guys from Illinois that I wanted us to go after, and there was never any traction. So it's hard to know until we start hearing names and visits and contact and stuff like that. Then we know a little bit more of who we're zeroing in on and who do we have an opportunity for.
Yeah. Coming other than Rivers. Dante says once the offense is installed, it will predicate Baker making upgrades to the defense. Plus practicing versus spread will naturally make our D better. It will have familiarity with our opponents. Upgrades. Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with you. That's the more you can make our defense guess in practice and in scrimmages, the better it'll make them come the season.
Yeah. I fully expect TVD to get redshirted. A63.
Yeah. I expect TVD to get redshirted, and I mean, obviously, I think you're going to have some more redshirt candidates, and then you're going to be some from freshmen that are going to be either win their spots or be pressed into duty. So
this is tough here. Corey says realistic expectations going into the season.
We will end up somewhere between 0-12 and 12-0.
That's what it feels like, man. It's so hard to get a pulse on what the thing that's
so hard, man, is that this past season I didn't know which team was going to show up forget about week to week, day to day in practice. I didn't know which team was going to show up.
Corey, we didn't know a lot. We didn't know who's going to be a starting quarterback week in and week out. We didn't know. I mean,
Jesus. Corey,
oh my God! I mean, you know what it is that you just look at how the season went, man, in the roller coaster ride, and then look what led to finishing off the season the way we did. It went from, oh my God, this is the Dan Enos offense we've been waiting for, you know, what we did up in Tallahassee and then against Louisville, and then you lose against FIU. Just like, wait,
that's
wait,
thing,
what?
Corey, can you let me get away with a little bit of a cheat here? I'll say this: if we truly are making headway into fixing our culture problem, I think a 10-win season is probable.
I'm not doing that.
No, I will say that. If we do make serious headway into fixing the culture problem, if we do not, 8 wins.
I'll say this.
Wins,
look, I will say this.
Andy will be gone.
I will say
Blake James.
I will say this. If we get De'Aaron King from 2018, nothing less than 10 wins for sure.
Oh, absolutely, especially in this offense, especially in Rhett Lashley's offense,
right?
You know, but the thing is, in order for De'Aaron to get us there, our wide receivers have to step up their game. To entiende, our offensive line has to play better. Mm-hmm. Our cornerback situation has to get fixed. I mean, realize going into the season, going into spring, you got DJ Ivey and Al Blades are now your 2 starting corners. Corey is your starting nickel. You got Christian Williams, and then you have true freshmen at corner. That's all.
Yeah.
So Marcus Clark, Isaiah Dunson. I know everybody wants to make him a safety, but you know how much I like Jalen Harrell. Opportunity is there for you to work yourself into this rotation as a true freshman. So have it. So
chances on Avante.
from what I'm seeing, he's all about Florida. He's all about a Gator. You got to remember that's where his cousin, because he's Lorenzo Lingard's cousin.
Oh wow, that's a good. That's a good one.
He's all about Florida.
I know what I know.
That's my prediction for Avante. Is he ends up as a Florida Gator.
That's a good one. I know what my answer is. I want to see where Big Dog's at on this one. James Williams 2021 or Avante 2020. You could only pick one.
Yeah, that's a good question, man.
Oof. I know what my answer is.
James Williams.
100%.
Yeah, James Williams.
100%.
Much higher ceiling, even though I think he's going to end up being a linebacker and not a safety.
Or it's
a being a defensive end.
Might be a tackle.
Yeah, you might end up 6'6", 7, 320.
320 tackle.
For you guys that don't know, the reason that we're laughing is when we started recruiting James Williams, I started hitting Junior up on his huddle tape. You got to look at this guy. This guy is the second coming of Sean Taylor. And he was like 6'3", 210 at the time. So he's still developing. He's still growing. So next time we see, he's no longer 6'3", he's now 6'5". And we're going, Jesus, is he going to be a second coming of Sean Taylor, the second coming of Greg Rousseau? Because, I don't know if that dude's done growing yet. So I don't know. I know James Williams loves playing safety. I know he wants to play safety. And hey, listen, it could happen. You could have a 6'5" safety. But man, from what I've seen of his body type,
you could have a 6'5" safety. You just can't have a 6'5", 280-pound safety.
That's right. That's right. I mean, and he's he's up to like 220, 225, I think.
Yeah, but you gotta look at his frame.
Yeah, dude, he's a big dude, man.
Man,
if you look at his body type, I don't know. He's not done. He's not. I don't think he's done. I don't know if he's done growing, much less filling out. And I don't see him being a long-term safety. I see him being a linebacker and a monster linebacker at that.
Yeah.
Or ending up being that like outside.
He would be a nasty pass rushing. He would be a nasty linebacker, dude.
You imagine him as an outside linebacker, pass rushing with that type of speed and athleticism and closing speed.
It's crazy. So
we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with James. And who knows? Maybe he does end up back in our class. So
I gotta see that, guys. I know they had the reunion with Irvin, Reed, and who else did they have? Ray Lewis.
Oh my God, man!
Yeah, they were airing it. Where can I see that, guys? Because I'm guessing it's over now already. But I saw that. Obviously, we were gonna go live, and I saw them live that they were on. Where can I catch that? If you guys could hook me up, where can I find that, man? But yeah, so they're gonna be talking about the U and whatnot. So I'm excited to see that. We got a $10 donation, man, for to Ron Blow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man. It was on YouTube. Okay. On Reggie Wayne too. All right. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. I can't wait.
So Reggie Wayne, Irvin, Ed Reed, and Ray Lewis.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
I'm gonna watch it tonight too.
That's 3 Hall of Famers and 1 soon to be Hall of Famer.
That's crazy. All right, so I guess I could catch it on YouTube. All right, cool.
Heck yeah, thank you. I'm definitely gonna watch that tonight.
Thank you for the dono, man.
I've been out of touch, guys. For you guys that don't know, besides all the stuff we had going on, I think I've mentioned this before. I do want to mention this real quickly because if you guys wanted an update, been having some battles here locally in our school district for special needs kids. Something I'm very much involved in. And that's why we actually moved the live chat from Thursdays to Wednesdays. Tomorrow, school board meetings are on Thursday nights, and I'm actually presenting at the school board meeting tomorrow. But it looks like things are going our way. And so You can actually make a difference and fight City Hall and win. So we're going to get some a whole bunch of new things installed for our special needs kids in the district. So do want to give you guys an update on that.
Oh my God, Jimmy Johnson was on too.
Man.
What?
Okay, guys.
Well, hey,
Sorry,
man, we both did it at the same time.
Let's go watch that. Oh man, yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch that as soon as we're done.
Fox Sports Live. All right, we're gonna check it out.
Thank you, 904.
I think I saw. Oh man, I saw another great question. I think I lost it.
No, Jay Love, I'm not a teacher. I'm actually just involved. It's something that's a passion of mine. But my wife is a teacher. My wife is a math teacher at the local high school, and I've actually coached high school kids. But that's something. That's a passion of mine, and we are, as a society, I think we're way behind giving our special needs kids the opportunities that they deserve. So I just want to do something to help here. And unfortunately, I can only help in my little circle of the world, in the district that I live. But hopefully it looks like we have made a difference. And we had a meeting with the superintendent yesterday, and things went really well. That there looks like there's going to be a lot of positives, and a lot of things that we were demanding have been met, and that these programs are going to be implemented. So I'm very, very, very pleased with that. So
yeah. If we have a good season, how long do we keep Lashley?
That's a good question. Man, he's one of these guys that's a young riser. He's only 36, 37.
We won't have him for a long period of time. I'll tell you that much. We're not going to have Lashley for a long time.
Who was asking that? Cheyenne?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, man, I don't think we're going to hang, a guy like him. The only good thing is he has nowhere to go, because now he's an offensive coordinator at a major college program at a Power 5 school. So if we pay him correctly, the only way he's going to leave us is to get a head job. But chances are, a really good offensive coordinator, young mind like that, he's already been a head coach at a very small college level at a Concord. So he'll get an opportunity, I'm sure, relatively soon. So maybe we can keep him 3 years at the tops, especially successfully. I think 3 years at the most.
Hey, Chris, I was actually laughing because I was trying to keep up with your question, to trying to see what was going on, to get the full question. And then he says that his daughter kept on hitting send when he was trying to type in the question. So that makes perfect sense now.
That's all right. She's entitled to.
Yeah, he says, based on the amount of returning starters on defense, do you think the defense will improve?
Looking at it objectively from afar, not knowing what happened last year when we thought a lot of people were due for improvements and it didn't happen. What did we think going into the season that Trajan Bandy was going to do his junior year? Not what we saw on the field. What did we think from Shaq and Pinckney? Yeah, you could say Shaq definitely improved. But Pink had really in sort of an off season. So looking at it, Chris, objectively, we absolutely should have a better defense. Now you have Gregory Rousseau, who's now a redshirt sophomore. So he's returning. Quincy Roche will give us more than we got from Jonathan Garvin last season. And now you have that beast of Jalen Phillips getting ready to, and it's pretty, and listen, a lot of you guys doubted his seriousness about football. The way that dude's been hitting them weights, he's serious.
Who's this?
Jalen Phillips.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Jalen Phillips ain't playing. So now we're looking at the number one recruit in the entire country from 2017 being ready to play some football and play the same position as Gregory Rousseau and Jalen Phillips.
Yeah.
So with Jalen Phillips, Gregory Rousseau, Quincy Roche, Jafari Harvey, Cam Williams, Chance Williams, Quentin Williams, Billy D. Williams. I mean, how many Williams we got at the defensive end? Man, I'm showing my age. A lot of these young people don't know who Billy D. Williams is.
I have absolutely no idea.
You have no
Billy
idea
D.
who
Williams.
Billy D. Williams is. Oh man, let me find somebody who is my age or close to my age.
What year? What year are we talking about, Big Dog?
Dude, Billy D. Williams was like the epitome of cool back in my day. He's an actor, and he was like the epitome of smooth.
He was an actor like black and white movies.
Oh man, that's cold. Tell me black and white movies. I'm not that old.
No, I'm saying it was, I don't
No,
have
Billy
no
D. Williams
idea
wasn't
Billy
from
D.
black
Williams
and white movies.
All right.
But anyways,
I've never heard no Billy D. Williams. We know who's Billy D.
I actually
Hurricane
think
Millie knows who it is.
Thank you, Hurricane Millie. Somebody else that knows.
Don't lie to him, man.
I'm not that old. There you go, Colt 45. That's right. He used to do the old Colt 45 commercials. He was just the epitome of like smooth and cool.
Don't the smooth taste fool you?
I remember he did a movie back in the day with Sylvester Stallone. I was trying to remember the name of that movie.
I have no idea who you guys are talking about.
Yeah, he was a big time actor, man. Back in like the 70s and the 80s, he was like a big time matinee idol.
I might not know his name, but yeah, I'm not. I don't.
Oh, that's right. He was in Star Wars.
Don't.
I forgot about
kill me, guys. But I don't like Star Wars.
I've only seen that one Star Wars with you.
I don't like Star Wars. I know everybody
loves. That was it. That's who's. Thank you, Nighthawks. It was Billy D. Williams and Sylvester Stallone. It was actually a pretty decent movie. So
you don't know Billy D. No, I don't, man. I gotta.
Yeah, you're right. 863. They don't know. But he was. I mean, that's the best way I can describe him. He was an actor, but he was like the epitome of just cool and smooth. You know, that was what Billy D. Williams was about. But anyways,
okay, of course, yeah. Now I know who this is.
Who?
I had to look up a picture of him.
Oh, yeah, you've seen him before?
Yeah, of course I've seen him before. I didn't recognize his name.
He's
82 years old.
He's 82?
82, man.
Oh, man, he's 82 years old. Now I'm really old. Yeah. Oh, geez, I can't believe he's 82 years old. Yeah. Oh, we got a donation from Cheyenne Castellanos.
777.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Shane. I'm sorry, Shane.
Shane.
I'm horrible with names, man. I'm horrible with names. But go ahead and leave a comment.
May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you with his salvation, glory, and knowledge of his will. Praise Christ for your 20. Thank you so much.
Oh, my God, man. Shane, that's the most awesome thing, dude. Thank you so much. As a fellow Christian, as fellow Christians and believers, man, God bless and thank you so much for that blessing.
Thank you, man. God bless. And sorry for mispronouncing your name. Won't happen again. Now we know. I think it's the first time we've seen you in the chat. So that's once we get your name, that's it, man. You won't hear a mix up from us again. Brett says, "All right, I don't feel that bad, Brett. No, I do know him. I just didn't know his name like that. I didn't know his name. I couldn't put
two together.
Yeah, the face of the name." Anthony says, "Big Dog, what quarterback should I look out for that Lashley might recruit
for 20? That's a good question. Oh my God, I just had the name. Look it up for me, Junior. It's I believe it's Quincy Turner. There was just a offer out now for 20. I think it was the first 2021 offer that Lashley made. Look it up. I actually, you know what, Junior? Take over talking. I know where to find it because I actually was looking and reading into him and watching some huddle tape on him now. I'll find it for you right now.
Because I grew up in a house, play nothing but that type of music. What's going on, CJ? Coolest movie black dude in the movies ever. Hello. Okay, well, I said it. What's up, JD?
I'm sorry. The one I was talking about was 2022, and it was Zion Turner. It was Turner, but it was Zion Turner. That's a 2022 kid from Fort Lauderdale, St. Thomas Aquinas. 2021 kids.
Wait, what?
What happened? What
Billy D.
happened?
Williams was Gale Sayers and Bryant song.
Yeah, dude. The first Bryant song, the real Bryant song, not the recent remake.
What recent remake? I haven't seen a recent remake.
Yeah, the old one was James Caan and Billy D. Williams. James Caan played Brian Piccolo, and yes, and it's the same Brian Piccolo that there's a park in Fort
I
Lauderdale.
know that.
Okay,
Man.
because he was from Fort Lauderdale and he ended up dying of cancer.
Did they remake Bryant's song?
Yeah, they remade it. I saw the remake. It was horrible. I don't even know who
I
was
don't
in
think
that.
I saw the remake.
I saw the remake. I hated it. I like the original one with James Caan and Billy D.
Oh, that was Billy D. See, oh wow, okay. Well, he was much younger.
Yeah, that was late 60s, I think. That was
Yeah.
maybe early 70s. I think that was actually filmed in the early 70s. Let me get.
Oh wow, okay. That was a great movie, man.
Let me get the actual
Ooh,
offers.
or-
We have Brock.
We'll compete. Go ahead.
We actually have an offer out for Brock Vandergriff, who's the number one quarterback in the 2021 class, number one pro style. He's from Prince Avenue Christian School in Bogart, Georgia, but they have him as a Georgia commit already. Jake Garcia, we know, committed to USC. JJ McCarthy committed to Michigan. Miller Moss, that's the one that I was talking about, California kid. And that one we have a little bit of traction, and I think we're actually going to get a visit. In fact, we're showing right now, they're showing him leaning towards Cal. There's the crystal ball on 247 has it 40% on Cal, but as far as I understand it, we are getting a visit from Miller Moss, and it's going to come down to a 3, even though even Alabama offered, but it's going to be a 3-school battle between Miami, UCLA, and Cal. So I like our chances. Miller Moss, 6'2", 297-pounder from Bishop Academy in Mission Hills, California. That's the one that I think we have considerable amount of traction on. And we just visited him when Manny was out on the West Coast. We just paid him a visit. So Miller Moss is the one that I think we're really zeroing in on, that Rhett Lashley likes. I know a lot of people were sort of wondering about him because he's listed as a pro-style quarterback, and obviously De'Aaron King is the perfect fit for the spread, but he's obviously the epitome of a dual threat. Well, in order to run Rhett Lashley's type of spread, yes, you need to be mobile, but not necessarily a running quarterback. Shane Buechele, in fact, ran Rhett Lashley's offense to great success, and he was a Tyler Van Dyke level athlete, where he was a good enough athlete to run the spread, but not necessarily a running threat. Right? You can be that type of quarterback. Now, you can't be a statue, but Miller Moss is not a statue. Miller Moss is plenty athletic enough to run Rhett Lashley's offense, and I know Rhett Lashley is high on Miller Moss, and I know Miller Moss is high on Miami and Rhett Lashley. So that's the 2021 quarterback I would absolutely keep an eye on, guys, because I think that's a guy that we have a good shot for.
All right, so we got to compete with the West Coast, basically.
Basically, the West Coast.
We're the only team on the East Coast on his radar.
Yeah, Alabama offered him, but Alabama has no traction.
Okay.
Because I think Alabama already has a commitment, and you know how it's working out now with the elite quarterbacks. Once one school gets one, sort of takes that school out of the running for anybody else, is the way it's working out. And that's really the way it worked out with them, because remember, Alabama ended up with Bryce Young, the USC kid.
Mm-hmm.
So then Jake Garcia decides to go to USC. So it looks like Miller Moss, we have a good shot on him.
Yeah. Dante says, not screaming at y'all, just intrigued what you two would think of the Super Bowl recruiting connection and whether there is one at all.
Dante hadn't given a lot of thought, but I think there's something to be said with that. There is, because I think it brings attention and glitz to the area, um, you could use the Super Bowl being in town for some very glitzy, unofficial visits.
Bags.
You know, well, just saying, things happen and during the Super Bowl. What happens? Hey, what happens in the Super Bowl stays in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, Dante, I do think there's something to be said about that. I do. I do think now, is it the end all and be all? No. But I do think that there's something to be said in that.
Hey, Chad, who do you guys since we're on that topic, who do you guys got? Who do you guys got on? Oh, you know what, big dog, and let's go ahead and do it, man. Let's go ahead and do it.
Do some predictions.
Let's go ahead and do some predictions.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're gonna get out of here soon, man.
Guys, give us predictions and scores.
Yeah, we're gonna get out of here soon. You want to take it to like 15 more minutes, big dog?
Yeah, that sounds good. I know
All
you got the kids and stuff
Yeah,
going
I feel
on.
bad. Yeah, I didn't spend that much time with them yesterday since
Because
because yeah,
category 5.
and then
Guys, give us what you guys think about the Super Bowl and a score. Give us a pick and the final score. Oh, Buddy's 61. He says he knows Billy D. Of course, Buddy. I mean, Billy D was like the epitome of cool back in the day. 904 says, who do I think will be the biggest competition in the Coastal? Obviously, 904, the cheap answer is Miami's biggest competition is Miami, as always, in the Coastal, but because we're our own worst enemy. 904, I really like what Bronco Mendenhall has done with Virginia. I think that they're always going to be that team that we have to prepare for. Virginia Tech, man, I don't know. I don't know because at the beginning of the year, I thought they were going to fall apart. And they said we're the ones that fell apart because they had people, not just Trayvon Hill, but they had people dropping like flies, quitting that team. And it looked like, oh man, that he is on his way out, that the coach was done and that West Virginia Tech was, and then they ended up bouncing back and having a halfway decent season. But Virginia is always the one that I believe that we have to always prepare for. So, and Shad said it's about Keyshawn Smith. I agree with you. I like Keyshawn quite a bit.
he got his 4th star from 2
Yeah, he did. He and Marcus Clark both got their 4th star.
All right, a lot of mix here. A lot of mix here. So what you got? I'll let you go first, big dog, and I'll follow it up with
here's what I think. Mahomes is really that special. Okay. If I look on paper, and I think most people would say that the Chiefs are more talented, but the 49ers are more well balanced. While that's true, I think in reality, the Niners outside of receivers a slam dunk for the Chiefs. Because I mean, Samuel is developing. Emmanuel Sanders is on the twilight of his career. I think what Mahomes showed me a lot of times, okay, let me put it this way. A lot of times it takes a team to get close a couple of times before they break through to win a championship. You know? Now, very rarely you see a team like, for example, the Hurricanes in 83, who had never been at that level, and then, boom, win the national championship at the first try at that level. In the NFL, it usually works differently. In the NFL, it's usually, they became good. They became a playoff team that goes deep in the playoffs. They maybe lose a conference championship, and then they're ready, like the Chiefs are this year. You know, the Chiefs lost a heartbreaker last year in the AFC Championship game against New England. Now these guys have that communal experience to now be ready to take that next step and not be consumed by all the glitz and glamour of the Super Bowl. So I think the Chiefs have that edge of playoff experience as a group. Mahomes is the X factor, the difference in the game, because he's that dude. He is that guy who can do things on a field that nobody else can do. He can make throws that only Aaron Rodgers is the only one around nowadays that can do it besides Mahomes. And Aaron Rodgers would be 37 years old. So
Yeah, you saw with that Niners defense. This is Mr. Aaron Rodgers.
yeah. Listen, they're the truth. They're the truth.
What wins championships?
Defense wins championships. The one thing, Kansas City's defense is much improved than they were. Okay, yeah. They're much improved. Tyrann Mathieu has made a big difference in that defense. Chris Jones is back to healthy. Listen, the Kansas City, I'm not saying they're a great defense. They're not. But they're at least enough to cause the Niners some problems where they're not going to be able to score at will on the Chiefs like they would have in previous seasons. What I think the key to the game is Mahomes cannot allow that hole that was dug against the Texans and against the Titans. Chiefs can't get off to a slow start this time, because if you get off to a slow start and you allow Bosa and Armstead and D Ford to pin their ears back, and D Ford especially wants to have a big game. Mm-hmm. So if the Chiefs allow themselves to get behind, I don't think they're going to do the same thing against the Niners and come back. But if they don't, I think you're going to see one of those explosions from Mahomes where they have a 21-point quarter, and then I don't think the Niners are going to be able to match that. So I'm going to actually go with 31-23 Chiefs.
Okay. I'm going to go 31-27 Niners.
You're going to go Niners. All right.
I'm going Niners.
So we both got 31 as the winning
So number. You want to bet? You want to bet something?
What do you want to bet?
Let's make it. What do you guys think, chat?
Although you do owe me, you want to say now who's the fantasy football god? Because you do owe me a payment of a bet.
What you mean? I told you it's null and void.
Oh,
I told you it's null and void.
No, now I got to hear null and void because a receiver got hurt.
Yeah, Devontae Adams got hurt.
No. We had a bet before the season, guys, that I said Deshaun Watson was going to have more fantasy points than Aaron Rodgers, and he absolutely Watson blew him away in that. So
he didn't blow him away.
Yeah, it was like the big money league that we're in. It was like 476 points for Watson, and I think it was like 402 for Rodgers for this season.
That's my point, but Aaron Rodgers didn't have Devontae.
No, 74 points was Devontae.
Null and void.
He's backing out of CJ. If CJ Miami came, I paid my bet with the bag, CJ, and Junior doesn't want to pay his. Yeah, that's true, Albert. Which team gets the South Beach flu? Yeah, people forget about that. Ask Eugene Robinson from the Falcons about the South Beach flu, man.
It's real.
Yeah, Eugene Robinson got caught with a propositioning an undercover police officer who as a prostitute, and ended up spending the night with Dade County Jail. And the Falcons absolutely weren't prepared. I think it was who was the Bengal? I'm trying to remember the Bengal running back who was really sad story. What's that?
No.
Stanford Jennings. Was it Stanford Jennings? I believe so. That he was. I think he was the one that had the problem with also in a Miami Super Bowl. But let's see what happens. I think it's gonna be a great game. I do. I like that the two teams being so different. And then seeing Mahomes on this at this stage, I love to see. Dan Kane says, "No sacks, please. Big dog doesn't wear it well." Yeah, you're right, Dan. I got the big old giant melon head. That it's hard. It's hard. I was talking with Rico yesterday. Rick Hernandez, who's on here quite a bit. He's been my friend for 40 years. We grew up together, and we talked about like my boxing possibilities of my career when I was younger. And he says, he goes, as we're talking, he goes, yeah, he goes, I remember. And then he goes, you know, the one thing that was against you, right? And I go, what? and I thought he was going to say something in terms of boxing related. He goes, "Dude, the size of your head." And I went, "Yeah." And a guy one time told me somebody could throw a punch in the third row, and it hit me in the side of the head somehow. But anyway, that was funny as hell.
100 pull-ups. I don't think the big dog can do 100 pull-ups. Sure,
Albert,
I can't do 100 pull-ups right now.
Albert, I can't do 100 pull-ups, sit-ups. I might be able to do 100 push-up pops, the little push-up pops, but I can't. Yeah, I can't do maybe push-ups. I could, but
Hey, Tabardine, you get the award for the most optimistic Miami Hurricanes football fan, man.
he does, especially a Manny. He is a
Especially
Manny
with
guy through
Manny.
and through. So
Yeah.
because we admitted, I mean, we wanted him hired when Rick resigned, but obviously we both had to different degrees issues with what Manny did this season. But I know Tabardine supports it and supports them, and so be it.
Yeah. Anthony says, Junior, with the rumors that the Lions will be moving on from Stafford and drafting Tua, what are your predictions for the Dolphins in the draft? Where are the Lions picking?
Yeah, the Lions are actually, if I'm not mistaken, the Lions are behind us.
Yeah, so
they'd have to trade up to get ahead of us, Anthony.
I have no problem doing that.
Because isn't it the Bengals ahead of us? Is the Bengals, the Giants, the Redskins, and there's one more team? Is it Cardinals? I think the Cardinals are ahead of us.
No, Cardinals are not ahead of us. You got the Lions are picking third.
Oh, they are picking third.
You got the Bengals, the Redskins, the Lions, and the Giants.
And then us. And then us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they might take Tua. I'll tell you this much. If that's
they take Tua, I'll take Herbert at 5.
I'll take Herbert at 5. Yeah. In fact, Anthony, I actually might like Herbert at 5 regardless. Even if you gave me a pick long term, if I have to put it this way, Anthony, if I have to bet they used to say this on Mike and Mike all the time. If you have to bet a sum of money that's significant to you on on who would you bet for a good NFL career, I would bet my money on Justin Herbert before I would bet it on Tua.
Well, now, because of how injury prone and fragile
correct.
it was.
Correct, because Tua is very fragile, very injury prone. Justin Herbert's a big dude, big body. I like him. I like Herbert quite a bit. Going into the season, he was my 1B to Tua's 1A. Obviously, Joe Burrow blew all of that out of the water, but nobody saw Joe Burrow, going to having the type of season he was going to have. But I'd rather have Herbert than Tua anyways, Anthony. So that's what I would hope the Dolphins would pick. So,
Wholesome. What's going on, Wholesome? He said, with a 10-win season, force the board of trustees to keep Blake James instead of going after a better AD. 100%.
Yeah, Wholesome, it would.
100%.
It would, unfortunately. I mean, listen, you remember, Wholesome, when we were talking in our group text that Paul mentioned to ask Junior the question, can you picture Manny holding up the national championship trophy as a winning coach? And before the season, our answer was yes. After the season, that it's like from like the movie Back to the Future, that the picture starts getting cloudy, that the people start disappearing. That picture of Manny holding up the trophy seems to be getting blurrier and blurrier, as if that's not something that we feel is likely to happen. Now, optimistically, you would like it to be, but yeah, I think a 10-win season saves both of them, and not only saves them, buys them another couple of years. Because I think if we get a 10-win season,
I disagree with that, because I think if we have a 10-win season, they will stick around. But if we plunge and nosedive again, I think they're gone.
Okay. Yeah. I think a 10-win season might buy them for sure. It'll buy them at least another year, if not 2.
Okay. So yeah, I agree with that. I can see Manny winning a championship. Chubby Hawkins.
Listen, Chubby, I can see Miami winning one. Now, I'm not. If you asked me that same question, Chubby, before the season, I would absolutely tell you I could picture Manny holding up that trophy. after the season because of his not because of our one-loss record, guys. Again, has nothing to do with 6-7. Has to do with the inability that he showed to have the intestinal fortitude to address our culture issues. And Manny acted like he was an innocent bystander in all these incidents that were happening. And he's the head guy in charge. He's the guy that could have changed that culture by demanding a difference and using playing time in order to enforce it. So he didn't do that. He let go of that teaching moment. He let go of that opportunity to address that. Now, does that mean that that's who he is? We just talked about it when we talked about Kobe at the beginning of the show. People evolve, people learn from their mistakes, people become better at what they do with experience and with time. So maybe Manny learned. He did show me something in this offseason because he's killing it in the offseason again, just like he did last year. He fired Enos, fired Butch Barry, got rid of Taylor Stubblefield, got the number one OC in the country in Rhett Lashley, the number one QB in the country in De'Ara King, the number one defensive player in the country in Quincy Roche, the number one kicker in the country in Jose Borregales. Yeah. So, boom. So he's doing it again. Now,
as excited as we are for King and Roche, I'm just as excited about Borregales.
Absolutely, man. Finally having a kicker we can count on because we haven't had one since Badgley.
Yeah, man.
So, we have a punter that we can count on our that he was a tremendous punter. Although he was kind of shaky there at the end of the year. It wasn't punting the same, but he was without doubt our outside of Jimmy Murphy, our special teams MVP was probably him. Let's
keep it classy, Vincent.
What happened?
No, nothing.
Oh,
agreed on the kicker. Me too. Yeah.
So I mean, he could definitely learn, Chubby. So I agree with you there. He made some mistakes. Maybe he's learned and he could be different. So you're right. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say that absolutely I could never see him being that coach that holds up that trophy. But to me, that picture has gotten very blurry because of the way he addressed things the first year. So, but let's see if he does learn, does evolve and becomes a different guy going forward. So,
yeah. All right, man. So we're about to head out. I'm gonna, if you guys want to just do some rapid fire questions.
Let's do some rapid fire
before we go ahead and bounce, man.
Yep. Life Squad 305 says Miami back-to-back portal champs. Yep, you're right, Life Squad.
Hold on.
I like if at 904, if I only get to pick one, I like Black better. The wide receiver from Michigan. So if you give me one of those two, I'd rather have Black. I think he's more of a dynamic of a talent. Chubby, but yeah, remember Coker's first 2 years were national championship years, but he did it with Butch Davis's team. Because as far as I'm concerned, there were national championship years because we did win in 01 and we should have won in 02, but that's besides the point. Thank you, Richard Hill. He says best hurricane. Thank you so much. Best hurricane scream. Larry Coker's the GOAT. Vincent, and I mean, he definitely got handed he got handed a Ferrari and he kept it on the road. Pollo Tropical or La Granja, I'll go Pollo Tropical. Where do you see Jay-Z or Barack Obama in sweatpants? What? When do you see? I didn't get that at all. I must have missed something. I missed the thread. Jacob Eason, right offensive coaching staff would be nice. Yeah, Eason definitely has a big upside, Dante. I agree with you. Well, you and I agree quite often, but I agree with you. I like Jacob Eason quite a bit. Hazelton picked Missouri already, Dijon. Okay. We're relying too much on the portal. Peter, ideally, you don't like to rely on the portal. I think the problem was since our high school recruiting class suffered because of our record, the 7-6, obviously the previous year, 6-7 this past year. I do think that utilizing the portal for short-term solutions is a thing of the future. I think you're going to see a lot of teams do that, because even if we had recruited really well in high school and we got all the players that we wanted from high school, you still can use the portal to bring in a graduate transfer to give you more age in the QB room or the running back room or the wide receiver room or the cornerback room. So I still think the portal is going to be a key component of building your team in the future. Are we relying on it too much now? Oh my God, there he is.
There she is.
Oh, is that? I can't see, dude. I can only see the
I
top
know
of
you
her.
can't see.
No, I can only see the top. I can only see her face.
Oh.
Hi there, Livy. Can you say hi, Grandpa?
Say hi. Say hi.
Say hi, Grandpa.
Say hi to the Junior the Big Dog family.
Oh, there's Livy. Hi, Livy.
I know. She can't. Yeah, she can't hear you, man.
Oh, that's true. She can't hear
in
me.
my headphones.
She can't hear me. That's right.
What's up, Mama?
That's Livy right there.
Yeah. Just finished eating.
But I do think to get back to the question,
No.
I do think we're relying a little bit more on the portal than I'd like, but I do think it's here to stay, and we are the king of the portal. So in the future, I'd like us to rely on it less, but for right now, I think it's a necessary evil for us. But you're right, that's not a way to build your team long term. The wholesome one says she's trying to throw up the U.
She'll be able to soon.
That's
Don't
true.
you worry. She's gonna be throwing up the U in no time. Oh man.
Adante was saying congrats again that she's psyched about the Canes.
Oh yeah.
Vincent, yeah, there was a lot to left to be desired with Manny, Blake Baker, and Dan Enos this past season in terms of in-game adjustments. I was happy with Manny in-game adjustments with the D coordinator, though, to be honest, to be fair. Tabardine says we need the portal. Yeah, for right now, that's what I was saying. Tabardine, it's a necessary evil. A portal transfer was the most consistent wide receiver last year. That's true, Chubby. 100% true. And not only was a portal transfer our most consistent wide receiver last year, you can make a case he was one of the best team leaders last year, if not the best.
Who's this?
KJ Osborne.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Dante says, do you think Manny, staff, and players are going to take advantage of the NFC champs being on campus? This could be game-changing mingling. Absolutely. That goes back to that question that you had, that I do think that Miami can get, and not so much the mystique and the mojo, Dante, but you know how that goes, man. You know, think back, Dante, when you were 17 and you were on campus and you see the Super Bowl team, that, you know, in the Super Bowl city, and all the stuff, all the glitz and glamour, and Fox Sports 1 and you know, ESPN and all these shows and all the cameras and all that stuff, man, you know, young kid sees that, their head starts spinning. So I think short term, there's definite advantage to being the Super Bowl host, and hopefully we take advantage of it. Strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah, 100%.
Wholesome says, can you teach him and the kids Spanish at the same time?
Oh, 100%, man. Even hey, Wholesome, you're not that bad. Your que pasa?
Yeah,
primo?
he's doing pretty good. That's because he's been practicing on los Dominicanas.
Yeah, I know it.
Primo, you've been practicing on the Dominicanas. Yeah, 904 says he's very concerned about cornerback and offensive line depth. 904, I was just thinking about that today before we even came on. This is weird. Talent-wise, I'm actually feeling okay about the cornerback room because I do like Marcus Clark. I do like Isaiah Dunston. I think Jalen Harrell even has that, but you can't count on a true freshman true freshman to play cornerback. I like the Corey Couch as a nickelback. I think he's going to end up being an upgrade over Bandy at that nickelback, at true nickel, obviously not the striker. So the cornerback room has me concerned in terms of lack of experience. So, but lack of overall talent depth, 904, I feel good. But you're right. Offensive line depth is scary. And in terms of a lack of experience in the cornerback room is scary too.
Smile for that. Smile for that.
Oh, look at that. Hi there. That's a smile.
Yeah, she's smirking.
That's a big old smile on her.
He's smirking. He's smirking. Don't be smirking too much, all right? There's a lot of men in the chat, so you better relax. You better relax.
You want to start teaching him already.
I know.
Vincent, I actually think Scott Patchen leaving was Manny helping him out the door, and it was to Scott Patchen's benefit. I really believe that. I believe Manny told Scott, listen, Scott, you're coming back for another year. You're going to get very few snaps because you're looking at Greg Rousseau, Quincy Roche, Jalen Phillips, and Jafari Harvey. When was Scott Patchen going to get in games? So I think that was when Manny sort of told Scott, maybe you need to go play elsewhere. So I don't think it was Scott leaving Manny as much as it was Manny looking out for his best interests, for the young man's best interests. Most youth offenses take a year to install. Why expect Lashley to be great right away? The one thing I'll say, Dan, is that a majority of our offensive players come from spread systems. So a lot of the concepts are going to be familiar to them. That's why I think it'll be more of a seamless transition than Enos was for sure, because they come from spread systems. You think Blake Baker having a newborn at the start of the season was a distraction? Listen, that's fair. Shark Right Beach Steve says that's a fair. When he had the baby, we were ill prepared to play North Carolina. We had a preview show where we said we had to stop Sam Howell's first read and the fade. If we took away those two things, we would dominate. Sam Howell hit like 7 fades against us. Why weren't we prepared? That's a fair. Listen, when you are a D coordinator and
then he got benched against Wake Forest.
Exactly. And you were a top 3 defense in the country the previous year, and you have a little bit of a back, and you did have that situation. Listen, that's a fair criticism. Richard Hill says, I'm not sold on Manny. I hope I'm wrong. Richard Hill, I mean, you have more than enough reason to doubt him. He's giving you that reason to doubt him. So John Shields said we probably go 8-5 next year. Sigmund, do you think Blake Baker run the Viper position this year? Sigmund, I don't like the Viper position. I like the Viper position in other types of talent skill sets, meaning in Miami at the Hurricanes, in South Florida especially, in Florida especially, we have an abundance of very fast twitch, big-time defensive ends. We can always find those guys. Even though we went 6-7, Chance Williams is one of the best guys of that in the country. We've gotten these guys. We got Rousseau, we got Jafari Harvey the previous year, and Cam Williams. We find those type of guys, Joe Jackson, Jonathan Garvin. We can get those type of guys. What ends up happening, we saw it last year when Rousseau was in coverage. Is Rousseau quick enough and fast enough and a good enough athlete to cover somebody? Yes. But
Should he?
why would you want him to?
Exactly.
He is a game-changing a pass defender. Just like people saying, well, hey, Rousseau's getting sacks from the nose tackle. Yeah, but he can do it. But why would you want him to face a constant double team? And so he got a sack last year, and I watched the tape breaking down the game on a triple team on 2 offensive linemen and a chip from a running back, and still got the sack. But why not put Rousseau in the places that he's most likely to get the least resistance? So while I like the Viper idea as a concept, not with the type of players that we can get that are special at the ends, I want those guys to go after the quarterback. So Chug Mobier with a donation says, great show, guys. Beautiful baby, Junior. Go Canes. Thank you, Chug.
Thank
As
you.
always, man, for your support.
I'll show you guys the baby boy on the next
next one. So yeah, Cynthia Wilcox said 11-1 or 10-2 for Manny to win out. I think he definitely, Cynthia, I think he needs a 10-win season to cool off that seat, because that seat is hot.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Sonny Barnes said he thinks that the losses of both safeties hurt us more than a little on defense. Amari Carter still didn't have everything down coverage-wise, and 26 was too young. Sonny, those are all solid takes by you, man. Those are all really solid takes. You're right on all those counts. I think the loss of especially Jaquan, not that Redwine wasn't a big loss too, but Jaquan's leadership was felt on both sides of the ball, and his loss really did hurt us. I think you're absolutely right about that. And you're right about Amari. I also don't think Amari's the right fit for what they're asking our safeties to do. I think Gervin Hall and Bubba Bolden are. That's why I had those two guys pegged as the starters. But then everything happened with Bubba, and NCAA didn't allow him to play right away. And we all know the story of then his injury after that. So I agree with you, Sonny. I think all those are solid takes by you, and I agree with all those points. We definitely missed Jaquan and Sheldrick Redwine.
All right, big dog, you ready to get out of here?
Let's do it, guys. Guys, thank you so much for all your support, for joining us once again, even though we were gone there for a while. And thank you so much for all the great prayers and all the well wishes to us. So thank you guys. And Junior, go ahead. You anything else you got?
Yeah, man. And if you guys are new here and you're watching us for the first time and you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe, hit that notifications bell so you get notified anytime we do upload a video. We do breakdowns, player breakdowns, recruiting breakdowns, our live chat every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, I mean, hit that like on the way out if you guys haven't already. If you're watching this on the way back, leave your comments, questions, anything you guys would like in the comment sections below. And me and the big dog, do our best to go ahead and address those
just so you guys know, if you guys haven't left comments before, if you have any questions we haven't get to, our goal, guys, is always, and normally we're pretty much close to 100%. Our goal is to always answer 100% of the comments. So please leave comments, because we love chopping it up with you guys and interacting with you. So,
and our Twitter's right there. PayPal if you guys want to donate. If you guys are not following us on Twitter, give us a follow, and we'll go ahead and follow you guys back, man. So yeah, thank you so much. Guys, be safe this weekend, Super Bowl. And yeah, let's just enjoy a great football weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll catch you guys next week. So thank you guys so much. As always,
it's all about this you.
I can't throw it up.
Oh, you got the baby. Thank you guys once again. Everybody have a great night, guys, and a great rest of the week.
All right.